G'day, it's Greenie here. Fresh out of bed. Bed hair, the whole thing, fresh out of bed. It's succulent day, so I'm going to try and groom up some succulent pots. A lot of them have been neglected, underwatered, underfed, cuttings just shoved in pots randomly. They're terrible, so I'm going to have a crack at grooming some up. What I've got here is to start with, is a set of 6 pots in a little deliberately rusty carry case. So I'm just going to groom some pieces off and set them aside in front of me, because when I need a pot that needs something, I'll go down to the groomings and choose something. So these are all very leggy. Some of them haven't been in the right place and they've stretched. This one, for example, has stretched, but there's some chicks and pups on the bottom, so I'm taking that one off. There's a very shriveled up pearl. That one hasn't had enough water. There's some here that have gone to seed. I'm just going to chuck them in the soil. It just needs a jolly good groom up, a water and a feed, I think. So that's what I will do right now, and try and tidy it up. I might make this part 1 and part 2 just to make the videos a bit shorter. I've really started too soon. I needed to get my computer fixed so I could at least edit something together, an intro or an outro, or cut out some dead space if I go to get something. I've got a problem with my computer, which I keep saying over and over again. You'll probably be sick of me saying that by now. So I'm giving my video production skills 0 out of 10, and I'm giving my content probably 2 out of 10, and that's being very generous. Really, this should be a retirement project, and I've started too soon. But I like talking, so I'm just going to bang on to you all. You can either watch or not. So these are fairly well groomed. This one here, I'm not happy with. I'm going to pull that out, take out the contents, and put something better in. The rest can be fed and watered and establish themselves. So just see if I can tease out. And top up the soil and improve the soil quality. Put it back and then find some friends for it. Yeah, that's as dry, way too dry. Okay, I'm just going to clip off a couple of friends. This one that I cut. Oh, a bit more soil. I'm going to cut the tops off those. And another one. And I'll call that one done and put it back in with its friends. I follow some succulent people on Instagram, and their succulents are impeccable, unlike mine. Okay. Calling that one done for now, even though they look a bit terrible. A feed and a water might help. I'll just put them aside. Okay, let's have a look at this little pot. I'm going to call that done. It just needs a feed and a drink as well. It's kind of cute. I'll put that one aside too. Let's grab another random one. Well, here's an empty pot. Let me put some soil in that and we'll find some plants to go in. Let's see what I have. There's a couple of broken off pieces here. I'll go 1, 2. Are there any more? Oh yes, there's heaps more. I'm going to make a little pot of this one. Just one tick, I'll cut a bit off another one. Okay, so this piece can go straight in. This piece is a bit big. Can it go in? Yeah, I think it can actually. Just need a bit more soil to top up that corner. And I'm going to call that pot done. They'll all root in and establish. So that one will call done. I'll just put that one aside. Right. Oh, here's one. This came from Mum's. I like the top. The hanging over bits are a little bit scant. There's not many leaves on there. I'm going to leave them there until I need a spiller, and then when I need a spiller I'll come and cut them off and groom them. And the bottoms are quite good, so they'll be alright, but I'm going to call that done for the moment until I need spillers. Just grab another one. Okay, so this one was really just a cutting shoved in a long time ago, a couple of cuttings. I think I want it to be just this plant at the front, and I'll take the other two types of cuttings out, and this pot can establish just as the one plant. There is a hippopotamus in here, and he used to be very clearly visible, but the plant has grown so much that he's not. So I'm going to set him aside and find him a new home. Put him on the table. What I'm going to do now is see if I can pull out the cuttings that are different. I might need my little trowel. And then this pot can become just the one plant. Take that one out. And this one out. And a little bit of soil in that. Oh, there's some snails in there. I rehome snails. I'll just take them out and put them in another pot in front of me, and we'll go down to the park later and release them. So I'm just pulling out bits that are not part of that plant. Check for more snails that might be hiding in the gaps. I really want the snails out because they eat things that I don't want them to eat, of course. Duh. Right, so I've pulled out a couple of things that are different. And actually the hippo can go back in that little gap in the corner for the moment until I find a better home for him. He had a snail attached to him. Lucky I picked him up again. So we now have a hippo in the pot. So I'll call that one done. Now let me see what else I've got. Okay, these two are terrible. I pulled them from a neglected part of the garden, and they were at the beginning what I call a cutting pot, where I just shove something in and get it to grow so I can use it later. Now is later. So I'm just going to maybe just cut them off, all of them. And then I'll just empty out and start this pot all over again. I have a lot of that succulent now, so I'm not as worried about conserving parts of it. Oh gosh, I might make a pile of rubbish over there. There's lots of chicks and pups, so I'm just going to drop them down in front of me in case I want something later. Fill a little hole. This is really, let's get those other cuttings out too, so I can use them elsewhere. Otherwise they'll just get lost in the soil here. This one just needs to be emptied into the wheelbarrow. Let's see if I can pull. That's all just breaking off. This soil is far too hard. That's going to be a challenge. Let me put it on the ground for a minute. Out of your sight, sorry. Oh my goodness, this is hard as a rock. Maybe I should put it in a bucket of water, soften it up for a minute. Oh no, it's starting to come away. I just have to put some muscle in it, which I haven't got much muscle, let me tell you. I often say, who needs a gym when you've got a garden? not know this was going to be so tight. Hold on a minute. There's a lot of roots at the bottom, so that'll all end up in the compost rather than back in another pot. This is why it's good to refresh the pots every now and again. So look at the roots at the bottom of that. So anyway, that'll go in compost, and I'll just put new soil in the pot now. And then we're going to try and make something with offcuts and cuttings. This is where I wish I had more artistic ability, because now I've got a blank slate. But there are lots of things I can choose from. Actually, let me just look at this one first. Because if I groom this up, it could just be a pot, and consider that one done as well. This one tip will groom you up a little. And I might better take a couple of cuttings off here for a blank pot. I like it when I can call one done. I think of succulents as a low maintenance thing, but they actually do require maintenance, watering, feeding. Just because they don't like a lot of water doesn't mean they don't like to have any. So let's cut off a few stragglers. And I want to call this pot done. Have a look from all sides. I grew this one from a cutting as well. I do share my cuttings, like this plant here. I would share these offcuts, but I'm going to call this one done now. Snails are trying to crawl out of their bucket. Okay, back to the blank slate. Let's see what I can find here out of all the cuttings. You're a bit tired looking, so I'm going to take cuttings off the cutting. And then I can pop them in. So in times gone by, I would have kept this and then had it grow more plant. But I'm going to actually toss it in the compost because I'm at the point where I don't need to be saving little bits like this to make new plants. I've got enough. So I'll put something big in the middle. And then I'm going to put some of these little ones around the edge. Whoa, come back. You got caught on my glove. I put gloves on because I'm getting my hands down in the soil a lot. And I just wanted to. This is the sort of thing I might do bare hands, but today I'm gloving up. So I'm going to call this one done, but hope that I find a couple more cuttings, the same as the little pieces I put in, just to thicken it up. It will thicken up by itself in time. Get in there a little bit more, please. So I'm going to call this one done for the moment. Is there any more of that one? Not immediately in front of me, so I'll call that one done. Now, let's see what else I have. Oh, I've got another one that's going to be rock solid soil inside, I think. This one's terrible. Once again, a cutting pot. So let's cut some bits off and see if we need to use them or not. Where am I for time? 15 minutes. I'm going to empty this pot out and get it ready, and I'm going to make part 2, just in case you can't be bothered watching lots of long things. Hooroo.